it doesn't matter what kind of delivery you have, whether it's natural birth or a C-section. What is important is that you and baby are healthy and you are alive. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Keneiloe Myoli. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I really appreciate your continuous support. If you're new to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe on the red button down below to become part of this family. So in this week's video, I decided to tell you guys about my pregnancy journey. I have a couple of other videos that talk about my contraceptive journey and trying to conceive, which apps I used while we were trying, etc, etc. So I'll link them throughout the video on top here somewhere, so just to make time to go back to them, also just to understand where this whole journey of mine started. I found out I was pregnant in March 2019. That was literally on the 2nd. It was 3 days before my birthday, and the doctor confirmed it a day before my birthday. So it was like an early birthday gift to myself, or from my husband to myself, but yeah, it was a gift. So then I remember I was running a lot at the time. Well, I had been running for a while, as in do races, 10 kilometers, 21 kilometers. So I would do that. My husband, you know, he runs a lot. He's a person that does comrades, etc. And when I felt pregnant, I was doing a lot of gym for some reason. And I remember like I had like this really bad like cramp, and I later found out that it was actually one of the signs of pregnancy, but I didn't know at the time. So when I remember, I think that weekend I was supposed to go running, do a 10-kilometer, and I went, guys. I ran the 10-kilometer and everything was fine, but at the back of my mind I was wondering, like, is this allowed? Am I supposed to do this? I remember my grandmother just being like, don't do this, Keneiloe, don't run, you're not supposed to run, something about you'll injure the baby. But I ran anyway, because I mean, I was about, I think 6-8 weeks at the time. I wasn't even showing, so I thought there's nothing wrong. And at the time I hadn't gone to the gynecologist yet. Like the time that I was actually supposed to go was around 12 weeks, somewhere there, 10 weeks, I can't remember, but yeah, between 10 and 12 weeks for my first appointment, according to the schedule that was on his website. So that happened. I went and ran. I'll try to insert some pictures as I find them from the different time zones that I'm referring to, if I do have pictures. So I ran the 10 kilometers. Later March, I was graduating from my honors degree, and I remember between that time and when it is the April, I was supposed to do a 21-kilometer race in Cape Town. What was it called? I can't remember. I'll insert the name. But I was supposed to go run the 21 kilometers, and it was going to be my first time at that race, and I was looking forward to it so much, because there's like a whole selection process in order for you to do the race in the first place. So I think the year before they didn't accept me or something like that. I can't remember, but I didn't manage to go through. So this year they actually picked me and to go do the 21 kilometers. And I remember asking my gynae, like, is it safe for me to run the 21 kilometer? And he was like, yeah, it's safe, especially considering the fact that you've been active all along, you've been running before you were pregnant. Because I've heard that you shouldn't start exercising or doing hectic exercises once you find out that you're pregnant. If it's something that you were doing prior to that, then it's fine. My neighbors decided to bring in the bin while I'm shooting.
A few moments later.
Okay, as I was saying, normally it's advised that you do not do hectic exercises once you find out that you're pregnant. If it's something that you were doing prior to you falling pregnant, then you're more than welcome to continue with your exercises, provided that they're not going to injure you or the baby. So I was very active throughout my pregnancy. I ran until I was about 5 months pregnant. Yeah, I ran about until I was around 5 months pregnant. And I mean, but that time, guys, I was scared. Like, I remember with my friend, I was running, walking, because I was so scared that something will go wrong, even though my gynae gave me the go ahead. And I think after the 5 months mark, I just wasn't comfortable with running, but I still continued with gym. My pregnancy was doing well, baby was growing. My husband went with me to every gynae's appointment. Everything was going so well, guys. I don't know, like, so this one day, like I said, my husband was going with me to the appointments, right? And when you're done consulting with the gynae, you go to the secretary, and she will say, okay, so you're coming back, your next date is on this day. And then you'll say, okay, yes. Or if the time is not suitable, you'll say, can you please change it to, a different day, like, but it's normally within the same week, because you have, like, you are seen by your gynae at certain stages of your pregnancy. And when you're still a bit far or early in your pregnancy, you don't see him as much as you're gonna see him towards the end of the pregnancy. So that's what my husband always did, because he's someone who's always in meetings, etc. So because he wanted to be present, we'd always work around his schedule, well, within the time frames that I'm supposed to go see the gynae, obviously. And this one day, like, it wasn't working out. Like, his schedule was not allowing him to be there, and he's like, oh no, I think, because I had to go see the gynae. It was not possible for me to not see him. He was like, okay, I took a date, and on that particular day, my husband was not available. Okay, prior to that, guys, I just had to mention that I hadn't even, like, gained weight throughout my pregnancy. I remember at some point my doctor was quite concerned with my lack of weight gain, and he had suggested that I start taking a pregnancy shake, which will help me as the baby grows. You're not expected to be big, but your body is supposed to be able to carry the baby. So I think also it had to do with the fact that I was working out, I was eating healthy, like, I did all the things that you are told to do, everything that is right according to the book. The neighbors again, but yeah. So on this particular day that my husband couldn't be there, I went by myself for a change. And a few weeks prior to that, I remember the doctor mentioning, your placenta is sitting quite low, but it's fine. Okay, but I don't even ask, like, what do you mean, what does that mean? I just leave it because he said it's fine. Later, I go by myself now, and he says, Keneiloe, it doesn't look too great. Your placenta is still a bit too low. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he says, it means that you have placenta previa. I'm like, placenta what? Placenta previa. And I was confused. And then he says, no, it basically means that the placenta is quite low. So if you were gonna have a natural birth, your child may not be able to pass through the placenta, and that will put you and the child in danger. So it basically means that both you and your child's lives are at risk. Let me just find the real definition for placenta previa. So here it says, I'm reading on from Google. So here it says placenta previa occurs when a baby's placenta is partially or totally over the mother's cervix. So he was like, this basically means that you are not gonna carry full term, and are gonna have to have a C-section, cesarean section, because it's not going to be safe for you to deliver naturally. Guys, like, I don't know, I'm a very emotional person, but when the doctor said that, I don't know, I just held it together for some reason. I just like, I'm not gonna cry. But also my doctor didn't seem too worried, and I think that is very important for a gynecologist or a doctor in general. Like, you don't want to show your patient that you are worried, because they might end up stressing out and making things worse. But he was very calm. But he said, but I'll check again on your next appointment, but at this stage of the pregnancy, your placenta is supposed to have gone up. So I say, okay, doctor. And once I left the doctor's room, I went straight to the bathroom and I started crying. You see, the tears are coming again. I started crying and I was confused. I'm like, why is this happening to me? I've been working out, I've been eating healthy, I haven't gained weight, I don't have high blood pressure, or the, what is it called when you're pregnant? I forgot. Oh, also add the name. I don't have that. So why is this happening? And I started like, okay, I called my husband. I was crying so much. I got home crying, same thing. And I started doing research about it online, and I started searching for Placenta Previa on YouTube, and I didn't find, like, I found very few videos, and the videos that I found were, there were no South African YouTubers on it. Hence, I'm sharing my story. A lot of women go through a lot during pregnancy, and a lot of women don't know about these different scenarios or what goes on when women are pregnant. So this is my story, and I'm really hoping that whoever is going to be going through the same thing can find comfort in my story and how I managed to overcome it. So fine, that happened. The next time I went back with my husband now, because I think also by the time the doctor told me about the condition, I just stopped listening. It's just, I think I was in utter shock and disbelief, and I didn't even like ask him questions because I just couldn't believe it. And having my husband there, he's like a sane, like he can keep like his head like straight, you know, and I knew that he would be able to ask all the relevant questions, etc. And now, because my pregnancy suddenly changed into high risk, I had to start going every week instead of once a month to the doctor. And I think I was in my third trimester. I think because my doctor, it does say like, at this point you're taking this, at this point of the pregnancy you're doing this. So because of my condition and because of the placenta previa, I was told not to carry heavy stuff, not to be bending down a lot, and I essentially had to be on bed rest. I was fine, but I had to rest as much as possible. Guys, me being me, I can't relax. Like, even people who work around the house, they always ask like, Keneiloe, I'm working, why are you not resting? And it's weird because I'm always tired, but I don't rest. Okay, I heard that despite that, I went to work, guys. I went to work until 2 weeks before I gave birth. Like I was saying, I was searching, I was doing research, and people were saying they were forced to have a cesarean section. And I happened to speak to one of my high school friends, and she was checking up on me, and I told her, you know, I'm pregnant, but this is happening. And I don't think she knows this. We were in the same class, and she told me she went through it, and she was like a beacon of hope, guys. Like, she doesn't know what she did for me, and I'm hoping that when she watches this video, she will know how her sharing her story with me changed my perspective on my delivery. And yeah, she told me a story, and she was fine, and you know, she and the baby are fine. But I remember being told, like, should anything happen, like, you're not supposed to carry anything heavy because you might rupture the placenta, and if it bleeds, like, you don't want to bleed, because once you start bleeding, either you, the baby, or both of you guys will possibly not make it. So yeah, so I had to be on bed rest, but I wasn't resting. But I went to gym, but I wasn't working out, because if you're on Vitality, you know that you have to have a certain number of gym visits. So at the gym, they just knew, like, I'd walk in, walk around, be on the PCs just to pass time, just so to have my tag in. And my husband was working out at the time, so unfortunately I also had to stop working out. And yeah, I wasn't on bed rest, but I was trying not to do hard labor, because remember, also I had my helper that came in twice a month. So now I had to ask her to come every week, because I was trying not to do a lot of manual labor or house chores. So with Placenta Previa, they try to avoid having you go into natural labor. So the closer you are to the 40 weeks means that you might go into labor naturally, and they are avoiding that. So I ended up having a scheduled C-section. And also, when I was reading online, it did say that if you have placenta previa, you are not advised to have a C-section or give birth later than 37 weeks. So I actually gave birth at 36 weeks 6 days, so a day before I was 37 weeks. And as you know, like, with C-section, it's easy. You go in, you have a set time, and that was my story, guys. So that's how my pregnancy went. So what happened, let me just go back. So the one thing that I forgot is what my doctor started doing now was he was giving me steroids. That's term for it, but I remember I went to have steroids the lab at the hospital, and with him as well. I had steroids a couple of times, and that prepares the baby's lungs. They make the baby's lungs develop quicker in case the baby might be born earlier. And so that's what we did to ensure that my child doesn't end up in, is it NICU, and that maybe baby and I are fine. One of my friends also suggested that I get a second opinion, because some people do say, like, doctors or gynaes will try to say, or they will lie about something being wrong, because they just want to have a C-section, because obviously it's more expensive, it's more costly to have a C-section, which means more money for them, and it's less time, because a C-section can take about like 10 minutes, guys. Like, the actual C-section just doesn't take long. So the doctor will know in a day I can take whatever number, unlike you being in labor for 24 hours, for example. But I don't know, I trusted my gynae. I didn't feel like he was lying. And also, it was a bit late to be changing gynaes. Most gynaes are not going to take you when you are that far in pregnancy. It's very difficult. I remember this other YouTuber she also mentioned how she had to change gynaes at later stage, and she really struggled. And when she finally changed the gynae, she didn't like that specific gynae, but now she couldn't change again, because it's a whole process also with medical aid. So I really believed what he said. And when I did go have the C-section, I remember my gynae and the people who were assisting him, they were like, yo, this placenta is sitting really, really, really low. It's a good thing, because I had to get more stitches than normal now for a C-section. But yeah, guys, I was just so grateful that baby and I were fine. I was also scared, like, I had to make sure I don't fall, because if you fall, you might rupture the placenta, you might start bleeding, and that's it. And I was walking on eggshells the whole time. Like, it was a very traumatic experience for me. I think I didn't tell a lot of people about it, because I just didn't want to be negative, and I didn't want a lot of people feeling sorry for me. But yeah, that was my pregnancy journey. I think I'll in my next video I'll talk about my labor C-section story, which doesn't really have a lot because you do the same thing, but I mean it's something worth telling you guys about because I think it will help you, like give you an idea of what actually happens and the process behind it. So if you've gone through something similar, or you know someone who's going through something similar in future, please guys, please share this video with them. I believe it will help someone. I believe that it will give someone hope that them and the baby will be fine. And if you've gone through something similar as well, or something slightly different, please do let me know or let others know in the comment section down below. I'm sure it will definitely help someone. Remember to like the video, thumbs up the video if you enjoyed it, and also click on the notification button to be notified every time I upload future content. If you've gone through something like this, I'm so happy that you made it out. It doesn't matter what kind of delivery you have, whether it's natural birth or C-section, natural birth like at home like a water birth or at the hospital. What is important is that you and baby are healthy and you are alive. So until the next one, bye.